Nobody talks about this, so I will. Almost everything you've been told about the ancient mystical origins of tarot cards was actually invented by two Frenchmen with printing presses and excellent branding instincts. One of them couldn't even read a single hieroglyphic, and the other coined a word you've heard your whole life without knowing a salesman built it. Tarot cards are my career. Today I'm happily tearing down the mythology part, piece by piece. Hi, my name is Chris Bennett. I'm a full-time professional tarot reader and psychic medium, known as the Tarot Medium. This is lesson 1 of my beginner tarot course. 12 lessons completely free, and the full written version with extras that you won't find here lives at thetarotmedium.com. New here? Hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so the rest of the course finds you. All right, here's the plan. The 5 biggest myths about tarot, counting down from 5 to 1. And number 1 is the myth that fooled almost every tarot reader alive. A few of them still don't want you to hear it. Stay to the end too, because I'm walking you through a 2-minute reading that you can do the moment this video ends. 4 cards, 1 honest look, exactly where you stand in life. Easily the most 2 useful minutes in the entire video. Before the countdown, 1 honest question. Why should you care where these cards came from? Simple. Reading clearly through a fog of boredom mythology is actually impossible. History is the foundation, and skipping it means building your practice on sand, or someone else's marketing. Clear the fog, and the cards finally get what they're actually used for, which turns out to be far more interesting than the legend. All right, counting down. Myth number 5, you have to knock on your tarot deck before reading. To clear it or seal in your energy, you've seen readers do this, usually with a little ceremony attached. So here's my honest take. It's pageantry. Your energy's already in everything that you touch the moment you touch it. Cards included, from the moment you pick them up. A knock adds nothing that your hands haven't already done. That moment is actually what matters. It's the shuffle. And that's where your focus lies, your question, your state of mind. You genuinely meet the cards. And I showed you exactly how I shuffle the cards in every reading before in my last video. If you missed it, it's linked up right here. And this one was gentle, so they get a little better from here. Myth number 4. Tarot is evil, dangerous, or a doorway to something dark. Listen, that fear didn't come from nowhere. And I think it deserves a real answer instead of an eye roll. So here's mine. Tarot doesn't summon anything that doesn't already exist within you. If anything, it conjures you to be more mindful and live a balanced life. The only door these cards open is the one into the depths of your own psyche. And yes, there's something down there that most people are actually afraid of. The fear has 2 sources worth naming. So the first would be historical, so in the 19th and 20th centuries, secret societies and a few genuinely unsavory characters draped the cards in metaphysical dread, just to make themselves look more powerful. And that would be a branding problem, not a property of the cards. A deck doesn't actually absorb the intentions of everyone who shuffled it. The second is newer, and honestly it annoys me more. A wave of manipulative influencers that have turned tarot into clickbait. Someone is thinking about you right now. Your person is coming back. Abundance is manifesting for you. Listen, that isn't reading, it's emotional bait designed to keep lonely people hooked and paying. It preys on exactly the people who deserve honesty most. So, 3 red flags worth memorizing. Run from anyone who says that you're cursed and only they can fix it. Be wary of manufactured urgency, because fear is always a sales tactic, never a reading. And question anyone claiming total certainty about your future, because no honest reader would ever do that. So a good reading hands you clarity and your own agency. Bad one hands you dependency and a recurring credit card charge. Myth number 3, you can't buy your own tarot deck. It has to be gifted or it won't work. Or worse, it'll be cursed. So this is the most stubborn myth in all of tarot, and it falls apart the second you look at where it came from. So centuries ago, decks were hand-painted and wildly expensive. They were passed down through families as treasured heirlooms. Now, the part that everyone forgets, at that point, they were still playing cards. Nobody was divining anything, and the gifting was simply how an heirloom moved through a family. no different than a pocket watch. So buy your own. Choose the one that calls to you. Picking your own tarot deck is actually the first act of trusting your intuition, which makes it the exact opposite of a curse. 2 myths left, and this is the one where the whole legend starts coming apart. Myth number 2, tarot is ancient. Actually, tarot began as a card game, not a sacred text or a relic pulled from a burning temple. A game played by bored rich people in Italy almost 600 years ago. So around the 1440s, wealthy families in Milan paid artists to hand-paint gorgeous decks for kind of a trick-taking game called tarocchi, something closer to bridge than fortune-telling. The most famous surviving deck was painted for the ruling family of Milan. Gold leaf, tiny painted portraits, and kind of a toy for the obscenely rich. Right now it sits in a library at Yale, and it has nothing to do with predicting anyone's future. For roughly 300 years, that's all these cards were. Which raises the question, where did all the mysticism come from? I'm so glad you asked. Number 1 is my favorite story in all of tarot. Myth number 1, the ancient tarot tradition. All of it. So in 1781, a French scholar named Antoine Court de Gébelin saw a tarot deck for the first time at a party. So on the spot, with zero evidence, he decided these Italian playing cards were secret Egyptian wisdom. He published the claim. So here's my favorite part. He was writing decades before anyone on Earth could even read hieroglyphics. So the man looked at a card game and simply declared it was Egyptian. Bold move for someone who couldn't read a single symbol. A few years later, a Paris print seller working under the name Etiella took that fantasy and ran with it. He wrote the first how-to manual for reading tarot, designed the first deck built specifically for divination, and coined the word cartomancy. So say that 5 times fast. Cartomancy. Now sit with this for a second. Laying out the cards in a spread, fixed card meanings, reading reversals, nearly everything people call ancient tarot tradition traces back to that one moment in Paris, to one man with a printing press. Not to Egypt, not to a temple, definitely not to emerald tablets. Here's why that's the best news in the entire video. If tarot really were secret wisdom passed down through chosen priests, you'd need permission to read it. It isn't, so you don't. The cards belong to everyone. They always have. No initiation, gift, or bloodline required. A tarot deck, some honesty with yourself, and patience. Or practice, and both. That's the entire entry fee. And if that surprised you, tap the like button. It genuinely helps these lessons reach people still stuck in the fog. So, which leaves the question that actually matters. If there's no ancient magic, why do these cards work at all? Tarot works because the human mind is wired to find meaning in pictures and patterns. And 78 well-chosen images cover nearly every life situation that a human life holds. When you pull a card, you're not receiving a message from beyond. You're meeting a mirror. Your own intuition does the reading. The deck I recommend proves the point. So in 1909, an artist named Pamela Coleman Smith illustrated what most people call the Rider-Waite deck, and she was gifted with clairvoyance. So she gave every single card a full picture scene loaded with precise psychological triggers, very precise colors and symbols chosen to stir your subconscious, no matter who's looking at them. The 9 of Swords, for example, the card of anxiety. All 12 zodiac signs embroidered on the bedsheet. Almost nobody notices. She got paid a small, flat fee and no credit for decades, which is why I always call it the Waite-Smith deck. And you should too. Understand what tarot really is, and you read with clarity instead of fear. One approach makes you smaller, and the other hands you back your own power. Now the payoff. Grab your tarot deck because this takes 2 minutes, and I think it's pretty fantastic. Every suit has an ace, and each ace is a pure beginning. Cups are emotion, love, connection. Pentacles are the material world, money, work, home, health. Wands are drive, passion, creative fire, and everything that makes you feel alive. Swords are the mind, truth, clarity, the stories we tell ourselves. 4 aces, 4 corners of your entire life. So shuffle with a question in mind. Lay every card face down and fan them across the table, or something that you can move the cards across. Flip all of them face up, and then hunt for all 4 aces wherever they landed. As soon as you find one, look at the neighbors. The card to the ace's right shows what stands in front of you, the pattern you'll meet moving towards that new beginning. The card to the left shows you what sits behind you, an old pattern, quietly being asked to be recognized and released. So one note on language, you'll never call what you find a blockage. That word sounds like emotional constipation, and your inner life deserves far better. Call it a pattern. Patterns can be noticed, named, and walked through with your eyes wide open. Try it with all 4 aces as soon as we're done here, and write down what each pair holds for you. The full written version of this lesson lives free at thetarotmedium.com, along with an entire 12-part beginner course. So join the newsletter there and you'll get a free printable tarot workbook built to walk alongside every single lesson. It's the same one that I use. So when you're through all 12, an intermediate course is waiting for you there too, and that's where things really get interesting. Next video, we're getting into the structure of the tarot deck itself. 78 cards, 2 halves, 4 suits, and 1 repeating pattern hiding underneath it all. And listen, the moment that structure clicks, tarot stops being 78 things to memorize and becomes one system that you can actually read. And I'll prove it by having you read the cards that you've never studied. See you in lesson 2.